This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, it sure is, and I'm fighting for you for the foxhole of freedom every single day, which always makes me ask, who do you want in your foxhole? You know, things are tough out there sometimes. It's hitting the fan sometimes. Who do you want next to you if things are getting tough? That's the question. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, another white couple, an elderly couple targeted for a gruesome hate crime. Both died after being stabbed and then possibly burned alive. The suspect, a career criminal, on the loose today. A manhunt underway. Number two, the monster who stabbed a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee to death in another apparent hate crime on a North Carolina commuter train, now facing federal charges for the heinous attack. I agree with that call. And number three, boy, is this big. This week's dismissal of the Michigan fake electors case, a massive win for Justice and President Trump and his loyal supporters. Judge Kristen Simmons saw through the left's witch hunt, dropping charges against 15 brave Republicans who stood tall for election integrity in 2020. I'd like to point out, this judge was a Democrat appointee, appointed by Governor Gretchen Whitmer. But even she couldn't deny the overwhelming evidence of a railroad job. The radical Democrat AG Dana Nessel tried to criminalize these Patriots' constitutional right to question a rigged election, but the truth, well, at least in this case, it prevailed. Simmons ruled there was no intent to commit fraud, none, concluding, quote, I believe they are executing their constitutional right to seek redress. Wow. My fellow Michiganders believe in fighting for a fair vote, not bowing to Biden's stolen victory. Here's former Michigan GOP co-chair Michonne Maddock, who spoke with me on the win on Real America's Voice yesterday afternoon. Listen.
I have a really good attitude. My dad likes to call me sunshine, and I think that I've had a pretty good attitude through this whole experience. I have deep faith. We've had a ton of people praying for us. But the truth is, I feel a lot more anger than I thought I would. I haven't really felt anger up until this point, but what Dana Nessel did to us was barbaric. She's a thug using the arm of the government in Michigan, the lead prosecutor in Michigan. I mean, somebody that we should be able to trust, that citizens should be able to rely on. And we have no idea how much money persecuting and victimizing myself and 14 other electors. And it was barbaric. And I want retribution.
Yeah, well, the fake electors conspiracy was cooked up by the deep state to smear Trump supporters, but it's crumbling. From Arizona to Nevada, these sham cases are falling apart, proving the MAGA movement can't be silenced or shaken. But the enormous win meant nothing to Michigan's radical activist Attorney General Dana Nessel. She didn't care. Who said it really didn't matter? All 15 of the people released by the court are still guilty. She said this yesterday. They're still guilty, she thinks. Listen.
You had many other statements that were made during the course of this conspiracy that should have been enough to show exactly that these individuals knew what they were doing and had the intent that was required to show that they had committed multiple different crimes. They knew they were not electors. They knew they were not inside the Capitol. They knew Donald Trump lost, but then they lied anyway, and that is a crime.
Sore loser. It's like getting acquitted of murder and having the prosecutor still call you a killer, still call you a murderer. This is just another slap on the face to the corrupt elites who weaponize the law to crush dissent. So let's keep pushing. The swamp's desperate, but we're winning. I'll have a lot more on that coming up a little bit later in the program. We'll dig deeper. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security is kicking off Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago, an ICE operation that will target criminal aliens who have found their way into the Windy City and Illinois because they know that the Democrat leaders will protect them there. The operation being conducted in honor of Katie Abraham, a 20-year-old Illinois native killed by a drunk driver, an illegal Guatemalan who fled the scene, another tragic loss that could have been prevented. Here's Katie's dad, Joe.
I would expect that he would work with the administration to make our streets a little bit safer. So in that case, if that was happening, I would still have Katie with me. I don't. I love the terms I keep hearing. Families are separated, children are being taken, or parents are being taken. My daughter was taken. We are separated. I will never see her again. She got death. I got a life sentence.
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. How heartbreaking. And DHS has released a list of some of the criminal illegal aliens that we know of, who have been released back on the streets of Chicago and are still out there. These are men convicted of DUIs, battery, assault, drug trafficking, gang members, attempted murderers, rapists, the worst of the worst. Yet, Governor J.B. Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, thinks it's more important to shield these people from ICE than to shield their own residents from tragedies like we just heard about. Border czar Tom Homan said he's not waiting around for illegal aliens to make victims out of more Americans before they get deported, and he's not standing for the ridiculous shaming coming from the left. Here he is, in enemy territory, sticking it to his guns on MSNBC.
I'd love some transparency as to why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data. We would love to see it. The American people should see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. But because of the last 4 years, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law. ICE was told to sit back, and you can't arrest an illegal alien for simply being here illegally. You got to wait till they commit a serious crime and get convicted of that crime. That's what Secretary Mayorkas' instructions were, and that's why you saw there's so much crime in this country coming from the illegal alien population.
Yeah, he's exactly right. He's going to be facing an uphill battle in Democrat strongholds like Chicago, though, where Chicago suburb Evanston's mayor is warning people in his area that ICE is coming. Is it not illegal to leak federal information to illegal aliens? I believe it is. Listen to this.
I mean, what do you know about what's about to happen over the next few hours and days?
Well, first of all, I am absolutely in the dark. The Trump administration wants to keep us guessing, wants to use our uncertainty to keep us afraid. But the reason that we communicated with our residents this morning is that I got information from a senior state official last night indicating that they had good intel that they thought it was likely that ICE would be coming to Evanston today and in the coming days. And we just felt that we had a responsibility to let our residents know so they could work to protect themselves.
You have a responsibility to follow the law. I mean, it's unbelievable. Residents don't need to protect themselves from law enforcement. They need to protect themselves from thug criminals. I'll have more on this coming up. These mayors and governors, we have to protect our citizens. They're not here legally. It doesn't matter if they've committed additional crimes. It doesn't matter. They're here illegally. I'll be right back. Like I said before the break, residents don't need to protect themselves from ICE. Tom Homan's talking about illegal aliens and hoping, to explain it. This is the game the left is playing. Semantics, using terms like residents and disappeared and calling ICE and DHS racist. You see, they say they haven't committed another crime. So what? They are here in the country illegally. They do not belong here. The drunk driver from Guatemala that killed that man's daughter did not belong in the country. Period. The governor of Massachusetts doing the same thing. They're playing the same word games. Listen.
These are the people being picked up. And, imagine you're at home right now. What do? Right? Do you send your kid to school? Do you go to the grocery store? Do you go to the doctors? Because people are being picked up and targeted based on the color of their skin.
Yeah. No one's being arrested for the color of their skin. That's a lie. It's trying to change the narrative, leave it to the left to make it about race. It's what they do every single time. They have no other cards to play. These people, many of them are from China. Many of these people are from Eastern Europe. It's not a winning strategy to try to make criminals out to be victims because they're not white. Tom Homan has a response for that, too. Listen.
Here are the facts. 70% of everybody we arrest is a criminal. But the left says we're not criminal enough. No, they're criminals. Who are the other 30%? There are national security threats. We've arrested thousands of national security threats. Most national security threats don't have a criminal history, but they're significant danger to this country. Who are the others? They're gang members with no criminal history. Or they're people who have final orders, who had due process at great taxpayer expense, were ordered removed by a federal judge and didn't leave. They're being arrested too. So this false narrative being pushed is a reason why there's over a 1,000% increase in the assault on ICE officers. So the Supreme Court agreed with us yesterday on how we do these operations. I said from day one, we don't arrest somebody or detain somebody without reasonable suspicion. And reasonable suspicion has a group of factors you must take into consideration.
Yeah. Progressives think it's some kind of moral high ground to be more concerned about foreigners than their own citizens. But the reality is this, that by protecting illegal aliens, they're sidelining those that would be legal immigrants. The Trump administration isn't racist. They want to get people here fairly. Here's Tom Homan again.
There are millions of people standing in line, taking their tests, doing the background investigation, paying the fees to be part of the greatest nation on earth. And the people who are doing things the right way are sitting on the back seat while we had millions of people come across the border in the Biden administration and cheated the system. People can call them asylum seekers all they want, but if you look at immigration court data, nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at the border under Biden end up with an order of removal because they don't qualify for asylum. They're pushing themselves to the front of the line, and there are thousands of people in the world who actually are escaping fear and persecution from their homeland. They're sitting in the back seat while people violated laws, disrespected this nation.
Yeah. And that's not just legal immigrants that are affected by a border crisis, it's the children. Something Democrats like to talk about. The hundreds of thousands, by the way, that they don't talk about, who were lost or placed with unvetted sponsors like adult men under the Biden administration with no follow-up, no oversight. That's a wrong that can never be righted, but that doesn't mean the Trump administration isn't trying. Here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. trying to remedy the problem created by Joe Biden and the leftists. Listen.
So they wanted to show, above all things, that they were getting the kids out of the cages, so they were not doing security checks on the people who came to pick them up, and they were not doing DNA testing, they were not doing fingerprinting, they were not doing income verification, they were not even doing identification. They sent 42 kids to one address, people who claimed to be their parents. They were sending kids to parking lot addresses that had, just had a container in it. We've now gone out, we've stopped that. We're doing income verification. We're doing DNA testing, fingerprinting on everybody who comes in and says that they're a parent. We are knocking on doors trying to find the kids who are lost. We've knocked on about 82,000 doors. Following leads, we've recovered about 22,000 kids, and we're going to keep doing that for the next 3.5 years and try to find every kid that was lost.
Trying to find every kid that was lost. That's an important endeavor. So let's be clear. This is what the Democrat Party is standing against. Recovering thousands of lost children, vetting sponsors, keeping criminals off our streets, reducing crime. Not much of a surprise, I guess. And they got so triggered by the slogan, "Make America Great Again." We can't make it great again without saving our great cities. Yeah, that's a fact. And that is a fact, right? Anyhow, I'd like you to take a close look at Patriot Mobile, one of our great sponsors. They want to make America great again, that's for sure. They want to make America great again by being America's only Christian conservative wireless network. I know there are a lot of choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that is, my friends, Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms, while also providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all 3 of the main networks. Listen to me. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans besides me who've made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. You know, Patriot Mobile's involved in a lot of great things. They sent money and supplies and relief people to Western North Carolina. They sent it to Texas after the flood of the Guadalupe River. You can find it all in their newsletter every single day. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can even upgrade. Patriot Mobile has an all U.S.-based support team standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Gruber. You use the promo code Gruber. You're going to save a lot of money because you get a free month of service for free. Man, you're going to love this. By the way, you can get two numbers, one phone. You can't do that with anybody. patriotmobile.com/Gruber or 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch so you can have a business number and a private line that not everybody has. Patriot Mobile. Promo code Gruber. Do that right now.